Welcome to jQuery video series, and this is part 32, and today we are going to look at the parent selector. Now parent selector is very easy, which is the opposite of the empty selector. In the last video what we saw was if any of the selector we are selecting as empty, we are just checking if any of them has no content or no elements within that, then empty selector works. And the parent has the opposite behavior, like means if any of the element has a child or some sort of a text, then that the selector itself becomes a parent of that. So I'll show you that in action. Okay, but before that, if you're new to jQuery, then I want you to go to jquery.com/download. I want you to download the uncompressed version, then import that uncompressed version within your project like this, and then reference it in your head section over here. Once you do that, then we're going to write some basic JavaScript code saying once the document finishes loading, I want you to execute some jQuery instruction. Alright, now let's have a look at the markup. I got the h2 tag at the top, one h2 element at the bottom. I got two div tags, each contain 3 paragraphs, and 2 random the h3 and p tags. Okay, so now what we are doing over here is we are selecting the h2 to see if our jQuery is working. So let's do a quick test, and indeed it's working fine. So we are going to close this. Next we are going to use the parent. Now let's think of this element. Okay, so I'm going to start with the p. If p is parent of someone, okay, so I'm gonna just do that. So what jQuery is gonna do is jQuery gonna start traverse like this from the top, and it will look at this p tag, and it will see, okay, this guy has no children and no text within that whatsoever. So jQuery is going to reject this element. Then jQuery is going to move further, and jQuery will see, okay, within paragraph tag, at least I don't see any the child elements, but I do see a text. So I'm going to pick this guy, and the same logic goes for all the paragraph tags. So I'm going to save this thing, and so now you will see all the paragraphs are selected. The reason they are selected, because the parent works like the selector, whatever you are choosing, it should contain any content or any element. In our case, we don't have any element within that, but we do have the paragraphs, the content, which is paragraph 0, 1, and so on. Right, now if I want this guy to get selected, then I need to create a white space. So if I do that, and if I refresh, so I'll get one more additional element, which is right here. So you're getting my point, right? If any element which contains any content, even a white space or any child elements, then you should select that the element. If I go like div, so it's an obvious thing. You can see within div you got so many paragraphs, and also it is going to select both this div, right? So let's run that and see where we are. Okay, it's working fine. Now the funny thing we can try is like this, but in reality, if you see the result, which is quite correct, because every element has the child within itself. So even if you go at the top, the HTML element, if you go like this, the HTML, you can see, because within HTML you have children and a lot of content, so its obvious thing is going to get selected, right? So this is pretty cool. Right, so that was pretty easy. Now let's see, we are done with the parent selector. Up next, we are ending the content filter here, and up next we're going to look at the child filters. Again, they are pretty easy, so we're going to look at them in great detail. So thank you for listening. Good night and take care.